First time you are watching this video, hi, my name is Susan Martinez, and today I'm excited because I have been very hesitant to talk about this topic because it is a very controversial topic. I realize when it comes to being an intimacy manifestation coach, I'm talking about physical intimacy. I'm talking about intimacy as self. Hey Val, hey Christina. So I'm that's what I'm talking about, so the whole gender orientation that's pretty much my whole the game I play, and I haven't actually been on here and started having conversations about orientation and what people think when it comes to gender and identity, and there's certain terms I can't even use now, which is perfectly fine. I've realized that I've spent almost a year and a half talking about physical intimacy, but the three-letter word, I've been saying it in videos, and all my videos have basically been taken, there's no, they're in full control of the algorithm. So yeah, my stuff wasn't being put out there. And so I became aware of that recently. And not until right now, well, yesterday I think it was, that I was like, you know what, I actually haven't, I've been saying, I started off as a stay-at-home mom, and now I'm on this mission in teaching the whole world what is physical intimacy, because everybody should be able to understand what physical intimacy is, like math, like electricity, the law of gravity is something that there's fundamentals to it. There shouldn't be any confusion, any separation in it. And and so, hey Jasmine, is that Vanessa? Hey Vanessa. And so yeah, I haven't been talking about that stuff, and now it's I want to talk about it. And I say that I started off as a stay-at-home mom, which wasn't true. I was thinking about it, and I was journaling, and I realized that I started my personal development journey. I became aware of all the messed up things that I didn't like about myself when I got confronted about infidelity from my husband. And it was crazy because I've actually worked my way up today to getting to this live because of how intimate it is. But this is what holds us back from being our full self. We have these internal conversations with ourselves about experiences that we feel shame, guilt around, that we don't want to talk about because we don't want to feel any of those feelings, and we keep that all within ourselves, and then we wonder why we can't live a happy, successful life, a happy, fulfilled life, because success and fulfillment are two different things that kind of feel the same, but our soul really wants to feel fulfilled. And so it's just I'm all over the place with my emotions because I've played this conversation in my mind all day. Yeah, I build it up because the reason I focus, and I decided to focus on teaching parents about what physical intimacy really is and orientation, is because our kids need to grow up understanding who they are, and understand why things happen the way they happen. So, backtrack. I didn't start off my personal development journey as a stay-at-home mom. I started off as a mom who was working all the time. I didn't want to be home. I had a very dysfunctional relationship with my husband, and when he confronted me the first time, I went to work, and I got a anxiety attack, thinking of, I just left him in the house, and I'm scared he's gonna kill him, commit, I can't even use those words. Oh my gosh, because there's certain words you can't even use. I'm so aware of them now. But yeah, I had this fear, and it made me have an anxiety attack, and so I walked out of work, and this was in March 17th, 2017. And after that, I was just a huge wave of depression. I started we were kind of just on survival mode. And then I started getting to personal development. I started working out. Actually, that's what it was. I started working out and eating healthier, and I started physically feeling better. And then I got confronted again for more infidelity, and that actually took me to a huge dip. And there has just been a huge transformation, and I'm gonna keep going, and so there was a huge transformation in where we were to where we are now. But at the time, we were very dysfunctional, and what motivated me, or what really got me to focus on what I'm focusing now, is I wanted to understand why I did what I did, because internally, I felt a lot of shame. I felt a lot of guilt. I felt a lot of anger towards myself. And all that anger was pressed inwards. And at the end of the day, I couldn't be a present wife. I couldn't love my kids. Like, my daughter, I think the first 6 years of her life were it's like, dang, those were tough, because that's when I was pretty much decluttering everything that I have baggaged up in my life. And so I wasn't able to be present with my kids. I wasn't there. And it was because I held so much guilt and shame about things that were between me and my husband, that were actually within myself, that I wasn't even having conversations with anybody about. And all this made me feel worthless. It made me feel shame. And that was the thing. I got to the point where I felt so angry at myself, because I couldn't believe that I did that. I couldn't believe that I got to myself, that I got to that point where I allowed myself to be disrespected, because I was looking for external love. I was looking for validation. I wanted a sense of happiness. I wanted a sense of fulfillment. I wanted to feel wanted. And it wasn't not because my husband didn't want me. It was because I didn't want myself. I didn't like who I was. So I was out there seeking external validation. And at the end of the day, when I became full aware of all these emotions that I had within myself, I drew a blank. I drew a blank. I was trying to swipe the comments to the side, and I drew a blank. Hold on, let me backtrack, because it's like, this is what I'm leading on to why I'm sharing this, because at the end of the day, I'm just sharing my story so that you can be able to understand the emotions that ran through me during the times of growth that I've gone through. So yeah, I told you guys that I didn't like who I was. I didn't like who I became. I don't like these little hairs either. What else? Oh my gosh, it's like I'm trying to take myself back. Who was I? Who was I? Because it's been so... I was talking to my husband about this, because it wasn't... And this is what I wanted to point out to him, and I did today, was we didn't do this alone. I didn't do this alone. I didn't magically just start loving myself. You know, I became aware of all these internal feelings that I disliked about myself, and then I started slowly but surely working towards feeling good. I had the desire at the time. It was simply, I had the desire to feel happy. And at this point, I wasn't feeling happy. I felt at that time I didn't deserve to feel happy. I've done so many things that the simple feeling of being happy wasn't something that I even felt like I was worthy of. And so that's how it started. That's how my whole journey started. But when I became aware of, so I ended up getting into an MDC, and they're the owners of the company. They're really into personal development, and they had Bob Proctor. They had him going into like conventions and stuff like that, and so they had to recommend the book Think and Grow Rich, because that's the one that Bob Proctor teaches, or would teach. And I learned about I learned about perpetual transmutational energy. And after reading all that, and the reason I started searching and wanting to, I had the desire to learn more about the physical intimacy and the energy behind it was because I wanted to understand why, what happened, why I did what I did. Because at the end of the day, I was angry at myself for everything that I had done in the past, that it was stopping me from being a present mother, a present being. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Zachary. So yeah, I felt like this whole becoming aware of this, of how powerful this energy was. It's helped me become a better mother. It's helped me grow in our relationship, and most importantly, it has everything that I have worked for has paid off. I had the desire to have a balanced relationship with my husband, a functional relationship where we are unconditionally loving ourselves, we are growing with each other. Like, there was, I that was once a desire, and that is something that I have now. I had the desire to be able to not be angry at myself, to be able to be present with my kids, not be depressed, not have anxiety. I had all those feelings going on within me that I didn't desire, and I don't have those feelings today. Like, I don't have, I could say I'm more consciously aware of how I make my children feel. And I think that is something that a lot of parents, I think, are on a mission to do, because we don't have, there's just so much going on in our world, that there's the relationship between a parent and a child is varies depending on the mental stability of the parent. And so this is where me sharing my story is leading to, is I don't want my kids to experience anything that I experienced in my past life, because they don't know who they are, they don't know how powerful they are, they don't understand, what orientation is, what physical intimacy is, and so they go off and they seek external validation, they get recognition, they want to go and look outside themselves and look at somebody to make themselves feel happy, to make themselves feel worthy, to make themselves feel appreciated and valued, because at the end of the day, that's what's kind of going on, is we don't love ourselves, we're not appreciating ourselves, and then at the end of the day, the people around us don't feel loved and appreciated either, especially our kids, who are dependent on our love, on our time, and on our attention, and so on top of everything, I think the reason why I focus more on physical intimacy and orientation, and talking about masculine and feminine energy within us, and how that expresses itself with physically, externally, without the actual physical act of physical intimacy. Like, there's the emotion itself, and this is me. I'm like, I want to go into coaching mode, because I've caught myself doing this when I get on calls. I get on calls with people, and I hear them out, and I'm hearing what they're saying. It's just like, oh, I know what you need to do. I know what you need to release. And I automatically just dip into just like, here, you need this, and you need to like, this is what you need to do so you can feel better, so you can feel unblocked. I'm like trying to hold myself back there, and just really focus on the aspect that understanding who we are, understanding how physical intimacy applies, like your understanding of it, how you perceive physical intimacy, how you perceive orientation in masculine and feminine energies, and masculine and feminine principles, or physically, or what your understanding of that influences your child. And then on top of that, we have society. There's a society that is influencing the main media, or mainstream media has a huge influence on how our children are programming themselves to like they're being programmed to understand orientation and physical intimacy in a way that is causing separation and confusion. And when I'm talking about separation, I'm talking about separation from yourself. Like, there is clarity. There's more power to being a spiritual being with an intellectual mind inside of a physical body. Like, the power of understanding how the masculine and feminine energy developed, has played out in your life, has a huge impact on how you expand your self-awareness. Like, I think, no, I don't think, I know, if once you figure out how masculine and feminine energy works, you can start looking at yourself and start looking at the relationships you've had with whoever was around you in your upbringing, for you to understand why you're either male dominant or female dominant. Or, we can have, and these are conversations, I'm not going to throw any names out, I'm just going to give out examples of things conversations I've had with people. One, for example, is, how there's a lot, and actually, this is more in general, because we live in a male dominant world, but it's not the male, it isn't the masculine men who are male dominant, it's more that there's masculine dominance in females. And excuse me. And so, for somebody who grows up with a very male dominant mother, boys will end up growing up female dominant. And so they, okay, it cut me off. It was cutting me off. Where I was saying that, so if you end up growing up with a male dominant mother, females most likely will end up being, males will actually end up growing up more developing more feminine aspects because of the balance within mother and child. So that's just kind of how it happens, and then you end up getting brought up being around and attracting male dominant females. And also, I was very male dominant. Like, when I became aware of female and masculine energy, I became aware that I had a lot of male dominant traits, and some were from my dad, and some were from my mom. And it's not that it's a bad thing, or it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just that we're all different. We all have different understandings. I mean, different upbringings. So how, if you're female and you're female dominant or male dominant or vice versa, like there's just so much to play out in that, and I think that just helps you become more aware of your emotions and why you feel the way you feel. And I know nowadays it's like there's 65 different flavors of gender now, and I think that just causes more confusion. So I think this is like why I wanted to talk about this, because I would really like to know what are people's perspectives of physical intimacy and orientation, because that is something that is always, it's a hot topic, and I always want to go straight into it and talking about it, because I'm like, I was telling my husband, we're a testimony within ourselves. I'm out here looking for testimonies from other people that I've previously have conversations with, and it's just like, I was telling my husband today, like, we are our biggest testimony. The fact that we are loving each other, that we are together, that we continue to be together, we continue growing, that we are making the effort of being great parents. We're loving, very compassionate towards each other. Hey Sarah, hey Joe. Like, we did it. We did it. We went from a very dysfunctional relationship to a functional relationship where we can have conversations like these and grow from them. It's like it's such a beautiful stage now where we are in our relationship, and I think that speaks speaks wonders because, and this is what I love, it's like there's absolutely no amount of money that will fix any type of relationship, fix any type of imbalance within any type of relationship that you're in that doesn't cost actual effort, time, and a real willingness, like the desire. You need to have the desire, because what happened in, like, there's just, and I'm done because I really want to just keep going and talking about everything. But there was a desire to become better for ourselves and really learn how to love ourselves. And I think that's beautiful. I really do, because I longed to have a relationship with my husband and my children, and grow from them and love from them, and not have any feelings of like, my thing is, I don't want my kids to feel any type of shame, any type of guilt. Like, I want them to be very aware of how they're thinking and how they're feeling and how to express that. Like, this has become a practice, and it wasn't easy at first. It was not easy at first. So I think it's amazing to be able to have conversations with people about just where they are in their life. Where is it that you would like to improve in your relationships? Because that's where I improved first. I improved the relationship with myself to be able to improve the relationship with my husband and my children. Like, there's stepping stones that everybody has to take so that we can really be happy and have the sense of fulfillment in our lives. Because, if we don't, and this just goes, you can do your own research in this, the rate of children who just decide to take their lives because they feel like they don't know who they are, they don't have a sense of purpose, it's increasing. The numbers are increasing. And I think the only way to be able to stop that is by parents becoming aware of how big of an impact they are to their children's lives, and how big of an impact your emotions and how you think they have a huge impact in your life and in your children's lives. And I think the only way to be able to decrease the rate of children who are taking their lives is by parents loving themselves, so that by example you can teach your kids how to be happy. You can teach your kids how to respond to their emotions, how to respond to when they feel shame, when they feel guilt, when they feel anger, when they feel sadness. Like, these are things that I believe that every parent should know. They should practice, and just practice until it becomes a habit, and it becomes so normal that your children automatically know how to respond to their emotions. It's like, if they know who they are, and we can drop all the confusion with orientation and physical intimacy. I think children will be able to, like, hone in all that energy and really throw out all that power for good, and to make themselves feel happy and fulfilled. Like, that is our life purpose. Our life purpose is to live our desires, do the things that bring us happiness. And so, yes, guys, last thing I want to do, because I know I've been on here for a hot minute already, is talk about, I have a new booking link. So I've realized that I automatically, like I said, go into coaching mode, and I like start talking, and it's like I like to start solving your problems. And so I got the hit of inspiration of, my time is valuable. I absolutely love giving my time. I've been getting real comfortable. It's not a bad thing of being with my kids and spending a lot of time with my family. They're actually waiting for me. But my time is very valuable, and so you want to get on a call with me, you want to talk about masculine and feminine energy, what I'm talking about when I'm talking about physical intimacy or orientation, or what my thoughts are, what your thoughts are, what obstacles or things that you're struggling with, or things you're struggling to understand. You want to book a call, you can do a one-on-one. So I have a booking link to do a one-on-one live. So it's on Zoom for an hour. or actually, I'm sorry, for 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes. So you can message me for pricing. It is going to be absolutely amazing. The transformations, the insights, the realizations that we go through when we're having conversations, because there are things that are stopping us from growing, and it's really in having somebody hear you out and give you the guidance and like give you perspective. Like there's two there's two sides to every coin. And so for when it comes to things that have to do with shame and guilt and hey Gina. So when it comes to thoughts of shame and guilt and, you know, things that we don't typically have conversations with anybody about, like that's where I come in and do my thing, because there's no reason for you to be holding on to any of those feelings. Those feelings bring you down. Those feelings end up making you feel depressed, anxious, stressed out, worried. It takes you away from the present moment. And you don't need to hold on to that. You need to be present for your kids. You need to be present for yourself. You need to love yourself, be happy. And so I can't wait to hear from you. Anything that you heard in this video resonates with you, let me know. Please share this video. Invite your friends to the group. So I was actually thinking of you invite a certain amount of people, get a free reading. But I'll get more into that. And so let you guys go. Mucho more. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Love you.